Santa's long stride ate up the ground as he cut across the parking lot of the Good Hope Methodist Church. He was grateful for the approaching dusk, keenly aware of the odd looks he'd been getting. As he approached the church, a young woman carrying a cardboard box came rapidly around the corner. A larger box blocked her view. The large box blocked her view, and she crashed into him, which knocked the box from her hands. Several bags of New Year's Eve hats and horns spilled onto the walkway. "Oh, Lord," she said, "I am so sorry. She did a double take and suddenly seemed at a loss for words. She glanced back over her shoulder to a man coming up behind her, an older, wiry man with stern, penetrating eyes. The man also carried a box of party supplies. Santa Claus stopped, raked the contents back into the box, handed it to the lady, then set off on his way. "Hey, mister," the lady called. "Excuse me, you dropped something here." Santa turned. The woman held his horn. He returned, and she handed it to him. "Thank you," he said, and started to leave. "Merry Christmas," she said. This brought a slight smile to his face. "Merry Christmas." The man next to her looked him up and down, frowning at his trappings. He shook his head. "Today is Jesus' birthday. Just pointing that out, brother. On account that some folks get a bit confused this time of year." He laid a light hand on Santa's arm and grinned. "They think it's Santa Claus Day." Santa met his eye and held it. "Reverend," the lady said, "don't you even start." She looked at Santa apologetically. "Just ignore him. He's a bit impractical when it comes to Christmas." "Darn straight I am. Santa Claus and all his little presents tend to get in the way of God's message." "As can religion," Santa replied. The Reverend squinted. "Well, don't think you can argue that the world needs a whole lot more Jesus and a whole lot less Santa. God has many servants." The pastor addressed the woman. "See, this here's what I've been going on about. People get confused, especially children. Santa Claus is a fairy tale. Folks tell their children any different, why they're flat out lying to them." "What makes you so sure Santa Claus isn't real?" Santa asked. "Ain't never laid eyes on him. Have you?" "Have you set eyes on Jesus?" The Reverend hesitated. "Jesus is in my heart." "Is there not room in your heart for both?" "They both spread peace, charity, and goodwill." "Only Jesus can save your soul from eternal damnation." A smug smile spread across the Reverend's face. "Can Santa Claus do that?" "Don't think so." Santa let out a sigh. "We all serve God in our way." Then, almost to himself, "sometimes whether we wish it or not." The pastor gave him a puzzled look, continued on, something about salvation, but Santa didn't hear a word, listening instead to the distant cawing. He searched the sky, caught sight of the raven circling far down the way. They found it. They found the sack. Santa set off quickly, leaving the pastor and the woman engaging concerned looks.